Michelle Morgan.
If this ping pong ball was worth $2 million,
Yes.
would you take care of it? Yes. Would you give it to people that you don't trust? No, that's my $2 million ping pong ball. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, why don't you treat yourself like this?
Yeah, Shell's over here just spitting knowledge, just dropping jewels. Fucking drop.
So.
Oh, fucking way.
Okay. Your focus is not to prove anything to somebody, because you can prove something to me and I could still be like, still ain't good enough.
Yeah.
It still ain't good enough.
Yeah.
So it's like everything you do, you prove it to yourself. You need to see that.
Brandy Chastain, and I just want to like rip my shirt off and just slide through the fucking grass right now. Let's go jump in the pool, y'all!
No scrimmage, crunch time and I finish. I'm that superstar, no blemish. I just own this, no tenant. You that background, no sentence. I'm the statement. Good riddance.
And welcome to Jampacked. I'm your host Jameela, and thank you for joining us, I should say. Look at that, I'm already stuttering. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Shenanigans, and we still don't know what we're getting into for the episode, but we have quite a gem in studio aujourd'hui. That is French for today, for y'all. She is the owner of Vida Esoro. Hopefully I said that right.
Yeah, you kind of run it together, but it's...
Vida Esoro. Okay, all right. She is a sports and life coach, as well as a speaker, helping everyone to realize their worth and that they have more light to be sharing and shining amongst others. They provide services like assessments, both in person, on the phone, or via Skype, to clearly define their short and long-term goals, everything from communication skills to personal acceptance. She uses those goals as a foundation to create a strategy for attaining those objectives. As well as speaking to your group or your team, she also does transitional teamwork, as well as one-on-one coaching for student athletes. And she's also a host of Mind Right Game Tight.
Yeah.
It is Mind Right Game Tight is dedicated to student athletes on learning from current and former student athletes through their stories and what they've learned and the wisdom they can share to empower the minds of all that they watch. And the purpose of the show is for student athletes to understand that their greatness lies in their mind and all they do in sports and outside of sports. And if you're not out of breath just yet, she is also an author of How Youth, you like that, right? Yeah.
You got it.
How Youth Triumph in Sports, Tools That Create a Triumphant Life, which is available on Amazon. And that is about the valuable tools that make players great. What makes these tools so important is that you can apply them in any area of your life now and forever to create a triumphant life. And just in case, one more time, if you're not out of breath, just to make it clear, she is certified as a life coach. Y'all, that takes a lot of work. I just want to let y'all know that takes a lot of work. I bring to y'all Michelle Morgan. Woo!
Yeah.
Whoop, whoop. Yeah. Whoop. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. I'm stoked, man. I'm stoked. I'm really excited.
Yeah, me too. I'm ready to I'm going to have fun. That's what I love to do. Like anytime I hang around with anybody, I want to laugh. I want to have fun. Yeah. And that's what it really should be about. I get it. We're here to share, but it's the interactions, how we, connect. Yeah. Basically, when you open the door, it was hug, got the dogs, we're having a good time. So it's let's have fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm stoked. I'm stoked you're here and, to talk some sports and just talk sports and life and coaching in general. This is really exciting. So I'm really glad that you were able to take some time and come visit us at the Shenanigans headquarters. If y'all have seen the promo or haven't, this is going to be very interesting.
Oh, yeah.
The promo.
Yeah. You'll see her. You thought she was out of breath just introducing me?
Yeah.
Watch the promo.
Winded. I mean, I was compelled to take a break and just start eating while exercising.
No, Jameela.
Yes. Don't do it. Slap it out of my hand. I thought about that too. Fuck you, Brooke. That was in my notes, actually. First of all, I could show you my notes, and that was in there, like eating while doing sit-ups. And I was like, yo, this is all types of ridiculous over here. Yes,
yeah. Part 2, yeah.
I straight up brainstormed the most fucked up promos. It's like, I apologize, y'all, for the way my mind works. It's bringing me to tears. So before we get started in the games, your drink of choice is water.
Yes.
Is water with some lemon and a hint of mint.
Yep.
And is there any particular reason why you decided to go with water and mint and lemon?
Well, how I came up, usually the thing is lemon with water. And then I started, when I would go out with my friends, like, I wasn't supposed to be the DD, and they were. And then I was noticing that they were not on par with DD responsibilities. So I just decided, you know what? I am going to just not drink.
Yeah.
And I'll be more, because I can see like and that's something they enjoy to do.
Yeah.
For me, like drinking is not one of those things, but I know that for some people it is. So I'm like, you know what? I'll be the DD. And so I was, drinking water and lemon all the time. And so I was like looking at the bar one day and I was like, oh, add some mint in there. And then when they added the mint, I was like, oh, this is really good. And actually, when I actually drink water, lemon, and mint, people will come up to me like, oh, what are you drinking? And I'm like,
really?
Well, you don't get the sense with the red cup.
Yeah.
But if it was like in a like your jug.
Yeah.
It looks like mojito-ish.
It does, actually.
And so it's like, oh, it looks so fresh. And what are you drinking? I'm like, oh, it's just water. And they're like, oh. And it's like... But it's so good, and that mint is like the extra like just perfectness to like the water. And I suggest everybody add some mint to their water with lemon. Yeah, and it just takes their water to a whole another level. Yeah, so that's how I got into the mint. I was just scanning, and I was like, oh, let's see what mint does to it.
I've had it before. It's really good, actually. I've had it before, but to keep it spicy for the show, for the sake of the show, I'll be doing beer. Yeah. A little bit of Artois, a little Stella action. Nice strong woman, Stella. But yes, water and mint and lemon though, super good. And isn't it like also like a healthy like kind of like diuretic, like it just kind of clears you out type of deal?
Yeah, I think the lemon does that, and I'm sure the mint does something too. I don't know all the science behind it. Yeah. But I thought it was a good blend.
But you're like the science person. Like you've got...
Yes, it helps with diuretic.
Speaking as a professional.
Yes, it does everything you need it to do. Drink 8 ounces 4 times a day, and your skin will be clear.
Boom. Okay. There you go. Yeah. Michelle is living proof of that. Hey, y'all gotta watch the YouTube. Just put in Jampacked podcast. You will see her smooth skin on YouTube. Oh. Like legit, those are skin goals though. Like for real.
Oh, thank you.
So there you go. There's the secret to smooth, beautiful skin.
The secret.
Yes. So for some of y'all, you may already know or you may not know, the little noise chomping maybe in the background that you might hear is Zora and her homie, her home girl. Our guest for the week is Chanel. So you may hear these two fabulous, hilarious dogs pitter-patting, running around the Jampacked headquarters, studios, but that is the lovely duo of Zora and Chanel. So without any further ado, we're going to get to our first game. Uh-huh. And because you actually went to San Francisco State University on a scholarship, it's only appropriate that we use the flick of that wrist. Flick of the wrist. Okay. And play Pong Me we're going to play Pong Me.
Pong Me.
Pong Me. Which is basically beer pong, but you'll be drinking water.
Yes.
Now, we are at the Pong Me table. Mm-hmm. And you've played beer pong before.
Yes.
And you're very clear on the rules. So you get it in my cup. I got to take the drink. But a little Jampacked spin is that I also have to share a fun fact about me. So if I get it in your cup, you got to drink your minted lemon water and share a fun fact with us.
Okay.
All right?
Yep.
And I apologize to those last time we played Pong Me, and I got the rules a little backwards. Oh. Yes. So, now we're very clear.
Okay.
We're as clear as the day. And yes. Yeah. All right. Let's go to our respective sides. And I got my headband on. I am ready.
Okay.
I am ready. I'm gonna need my headband. I'm gonna need some luck because Michelle used to play. Okay, first of all, Michelle still plays basketball. Secondly, she went to San Francisco State University on a scholarship.
Yes.
Okay, so that means that flick of the wrist is serious. I need all the luck I can get right now. So you're going to go first. You got the balls in the, you go first. Guess first. Oh, shoot.
Oh, my gosh.
Yo, I'm so nervous right now. No, motherfucking way. Yo, how did she go? All right, guys. And then she just threw it, tipped it in a cup. Tipped it in a cup. Yo. I'm really never going to be able to drink beer ever again.
She's going to do it right now. Too.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. Okay.
Yeah.
Hold, please, while I drink. Well, let me ask you a question while I drink my drink and think of my fun fact.
Right?
But let's take us to the very beginning of time for Michelle. You know, you played basketball growing up. How was growing up, and did you always know that you were gay in a sense? Like, how was that growing up and playing basketball, like being in sports? Because I know for me personally, like playing softball, it was very difficult knowing like I was one thing and then having to kind of hide it a little bit. And we've talked about it on other episodes too. Like, how was that process for you?
Well, growing up and playing basketball, I didn't really know what gay means as it is today. But I know, like, watching, what was it, like Dawson's Creek. You know,
oh, shit.
Like I think that was maybe like the first show that I saw something that I was like watching that show consistently. Mm-hmm. But even in high school, there was one girl that she was a lesbian and she had a girlfriend, but nobody really like tripped about it. And I never thought of myself like, oh, I'm gay. Like for me, I noticed that I was attracted to women. Yeah. But girls were always allowed to be like, oh yeah, she's pretty. Yeah. Oh, you're pretty. And no one was like, oh, you like. No one did that. Yeah, so it was like, girls have that freedom kind of like where no one's like, yeah. And so it was like, well, everyone does it, and I think someone's pretty, so it's not a big deal. Yeah. And then I remember graduating high school, going into my freshman year of college. I went to Moore Park College first, and they're like, oh, like, would you ever kiss a girl? And I'm like, yeah, like I never looked at it like bad or I don't know. I just never saw it like that. Yeah. But for me, it was like, oh yeah, like women are pretty. Yeah. So it was more so that. And then in junior college, I started to hang around more junior college players, and like we would actually go to the gay club, but we wouldn't go to them in our area. We would like drive 2 hours away. Yeah. And so I don't remember the name of it, but it was like somewhere in like Ontario or something. And
oh shit, you guys went all the way. Wait, from Moore Park, legit to
in Oxnard.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's what I was at. Moore Park College in Ventura County.
Yeah.
To like San Bernardino County. Like
we were on a mission.
What?
And it was interesting because then you see like so many people that you would play against or at your basketball tournaments. You're like, oh, okay. And so it was just more like exploration and like seeing it. And I remember going to my first Pride. It was Long Beach, I believe. For me at Moore Park, it was more like didn't say anything because there was nobody there who was like also like out. Yeah. And at that time too, like there was a girl that they were saying on our team who was, and I don't know, it was just not a good space.
Yeah.
So in my sophomore year, I didn't either. But then one of my coaches, my sophomore year, we were driving back from San Jose, a tournament in San Jose, and she was like, brought me up to the front of the van, and she was like, okay, if you like, girls, I want you to know that it was like totally like a random conversation.
Yeah.
And it's because she saw that I was like, I had met somebody from another team.
Oh, shit.
And I was hanging around with them.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
so she was like, just so you know, and so I'm like, okay, like, I don't know, I'm just listening.
Yeah,
so.
you're like, I don't know what you're talking about, coach. I'm just over here.
As the person who has the experience, they're like, just to let you know, it's okay. And I'm like, okay, I'm here to play basketball.
Yeah.
And then it's when I got to San Francisco that it's like when I really, started to come into my own. And because
that's awesome.
There was so much openness and freedom, like just for my teammates and the people around me. I'm like, oh wow, this is cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, I feel like it's definitely way more embraced now than back then. But I think, like, for me too, I was just like, what are y'all talking about? Like, I'm just me. Like, like, why are you trying to, like, be all up in my life, all up in my business right now? Like, but at that time, it was like, I like girls, but it was like, I didn't really know. Like, it was just like, I'm just living my life. I'm just being me. I'm just playing softball, like, whatever, and basketball at the time. But yeah, it was like, it was like, but it was almost like this uneasy thing because you didn't know what to expect, like what you were going to receive from other people. But my fun fact is it gives me great anxiety to go on vacation with people I've never been on vacation with, and if I don't know them that well. But it's like, I know you, but we don't hang out like that. Like we haven't ever done like a short trip to like San Diego or Vegas or whatever, so I don't know what your style is, but...
So do you have a story that goes with that? Is that why?
I have a lot of stories. I have a lot of stories, but I've realized it's really my siblings' significant others. It gives me great anxiety when their significant others come because it's like you don't know, even though it's not my problem, it still gives me great anxiety because you could be the one person that like tries to fuck up this whole trip right here. Like, does that
happen before?
It has happened. It has happened, but even like I went on a trip with my friend and then they brought their friend, which I was cool with and I knew, but then like it was just a weird vibe that person was bringing, so the energy was like very different. And I was like, see, this is why I don't like to... Okay, so that's my weird fun fact. I'm going to try to...
Get to know you before you go on vacation.
Yes! Yes!
Did I tell her something?
Oh, see, you're good vibes. I don't need you to stay here. Drink that, drink that, drink that. It's the headband. It's the headband. Color Run 2013. Last time. Oh, Color Runner. Is that what it says? You know, that sounds really bad now that I read it, that I think about it. Color Runner.
Well, fun fact, we shared it, but I didn't share it with you guys,
yes.
is that I was a 6th grade teacher on the Indian Reservation.
Yes.
Yes. These kids, I almost felt like bad.
Yeah.
Because they're 6th graders, and they're literally like at 2nd grade level. And you just don't know, where it was going to go from there. And what they were saying is that once they complete junior high, they have to go off the reservation to go into high school.
Yeah.
And so that's culture shock.
Yeah.
They're not going to be up to par education-wise, so then you're already putting them at a disadvantage, and majority of them drop out. So they say like one will graduate. And so...
that's insane.
It was just, trying to motivate them, and basically class... Sometimes I would teach, but it'd more go into like, what do you guys want to do?
Yeah.
What's happening? Like, let's talk about some things right now, because I felt like that was more important than whatever the subject we were doing at that time, because we had to do all subjects. So, it was just connecting with those kids, and even when I would call their parents and spend all night calling parents, and they come back, I know you called my mom last night, but she doesn't care.
What? No. What?
Yeah.
What the?
She told me the next day. I was like, okay.
That's terrible.
And you think about it, like I care. That's why I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, I'm calling to tell
Yeah.
you what this person's up to, what your child's up to,
Yeah.
behavior and academic wise. And it's just she knows, and she's like, she
Yeah.
doesn't care, and it's like, okay.
That's
It
it.
doesn't mean I'm not going to stop.
Yeah.
Trying to teach you or even have discipline and structure inside this classroom. So that doesn't stop me.
That must be very frustrating as like an educator trying to really get through to the kids, and then they're just talking about fuck you, Miss Morgan.
You have
like
half of them that are like that, who they're like on probation and gangs and things like that, and then you have the other half who they do want to learn.
Yeah.
But it's important because I'm like, well, how are you guys in 6th grade and you don't have like the basics down?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So they wanted like one. I remember I think her name was Michelle, and she was like, I want to be a doctor. And for me, it was like she didn't even know where to like put a period and like, a new sentence like is a capital letter.
Yeah.
So it was like you got to go back to basics.
Yeah.
So everyone's at like totally different levels.
Yeah. You've worked your way. Everything that you've done in work has led to where you're at now. It literally, truly has, from working with badass 6th graders to working at the Boys and Girls Club, and you worked your way up in the Boys and Girls Club and working on programs at the Boys and Girls Club. How were you able to move up to being the director of programs over there?
Well,
while I drink and think of my fun fact.
You drink and think of your fun fact. So when I first I moved back to Oxnard from San Francisco. I was doing a summer jobs program. So I was actually a contractor through another organization in the city. So basically 400 kids, we find employment for them in the city. Mm-hmm. So the city gets free help, and we pay them minimum wage so that they can get work experience. So there's these 16 to like 20 some year olds who are getting, something they can put on their resume and understand what the work environment's like. So then I got hired on at the Boys and Girls Club to work with high school students, teaching them how to write resumes, cover letters, how to dress, interview preparation, and preparing them for life after high school as well. And so I didn't even work with the after school programs because that's like a whole nother different department within the Boys and Girls Club. Yeah. And someone that I worked with, he got moved up to our program director position, one of the higher positions, and he was like, what do you think about being the after school program director? And I'm like, well, I never worked in after school programs, so I don't really know what's going on there. Yeah. And you have like over 100 staff, you have 12 school sites, now you got to work with like superintendents and principals and all this stuff. So I was like, I don't know, because I was like, am I going to be good at this? Like, this is not even like in my area. Yeah. And I hear all kinds of stuff about that department. So I'm like, I like it over here. We're a cool little department over here. We have fun, and everyone gets along. We can all go on vacation together.
Oh, shit.
But then I was like, let me just do it. So that was like me stepping outside of my comfort zone. Yeah. An opportunity presented itself, and, let me go do it. Because I already had the vision in mind of like being my own boss, my own business. And it's like, okay, running a larger group would be beneficial. So then, they offered it to me, and I was like, okay, I'll take it. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
But like how did you stay motivated and inspired to continue to work your way up to your final title that you had at the Boys and Girls Club before going off and doing your own thing?
For me, it was about it really comes down to the kids, because that's who we're serving, and that's who I'm going to the schools and working with, and it's really interacting with those kids, being there for those kids, holding your word, like when you say you're going to come to the schools, and you have field trips, like what types of field trips, what kind of schools are we taking them to, what kind of workshops are we having, and encouraging them to come, and making it seem like you got to figure it out, like, oh, I can't come because I don't ride. I'm like, well, we give you guys free bus passes. Yeah. So like, what's your excuse? And so for me, like, I never looked at like public transportation like, oh, I wouldn't do that because I lived in the Bay and that's how I got around.
Yeah.
So I get it. Like, you got to be somewhere at 10. I got to leave at 8. I got to give myself 2 hours.
Yeah.
But it's really just being there for the kids. And then at the end, we do like a success ceremony. And so the kids, we acknowledge the kids, but it's really who you build a relationship with as to which kids want to show up. Because I tell them, like, this is your way of saying thank you. Like, you guys got free interview clothes, you guys get money, you guys get bus passes, we pay for your driver, like, to take your driving test, all sorts of things. Yeah. And I'm like, this is what you guys call gratitude. Yeah. And we're acknowledging you. Yeah. So this is your time to, embrace that. Yeah. Basically, and understanding, it's okay to celebrate yourself because sometimes we don't get celebrated. Yeah. Yeah. That's true. Yeah. And just seeing, that I care and how I work with other people, adults, because now I was going to go into a department where you're working way more with adults. I'm not working like on the ground anymore, literally with the kids. I'm working like overseeing staff who are adults and working with adults now. So, and you got to have those relationships built because now you're working with schools and the districts and there's politics. Yeah. So you got to make sure like, that this is going to be a great partnership because we want to keep this partnership here. Yeah. As well. Yeah.
My fun fact, to double down on my anxiety that I get going on vacation with people I've never been on vacation with or have ever left the city with, I always think of an escape plan. I always think of...
What?
I always think of an escape plan, like how, like if... Like, so this is where, like, paranoia also kicks in.
What kind of movies are you watching?
Right? You would think I just...
Or TV shows.
I do watch Dateline, but I do watch a lot... You know what? Fuck you, Brooke. I do watch a lot of Law & Order, however, and Dateline. I've kind of cooled out on the Dateline and not as much Law & Order. But I always think of, like, an escape plan. Like... If I get paranoid or anxiety, I think of an escape plan. So, but I think I also just get paranoid, like, if there's, like, a lot of people somewhere, I always think about where my escape is going to be. Like, if some shit goes down, I always think of an escape plan. Like, just on some, like, emergency, like,
When's the last time you had an escape plan? I want to know, like, I walked into this place and I, like, scanned for, like, exit sign. Like, I want to,
okay, so I want to
visualize this.
Okay, it's not the most recent one, but it's the one that immediately comes to mind. But I used to go to Memphis for work, for, like, my regular job to fund Jampacked.
Got it.
But I would have to go to Memphis to go do work. And there's this particular part of Memphis where you might not want to be there at night. But I went there because my friend wanted to go there because my friend happened to be there, a friend that I've been out of town with. I love him, but even he gives me a little anxiety sometimes. But he has a friend that apparently we both know that also lives in Memphis. So we all went and ate at this place that apparently had been on one of those cooking channels or whatever, like one of those like cooking shows. Like, if you ever go to Memphis, go to this restaurant. Yeah. That's how the fuck we ended up there. And I think it's called Harlow's. There's a big pink pig outside of the restaurant. Already a little questionable as it is. But so I went there and it was karaoke night. It was good vibes. They did have a metal detector as soon as you walk in. So I was like, okay, gotcha. Going into the mental bank. Going into the mental bank.
Just went up
anxiety. Okay, all right, I get it. Because in Tennessee, it's an open carry state. So you can just walk around with a gun and it's just totally cool. So I also had to like make sure I didn't get into an argument with just anybody there.
Yeah.
But spoiler alert, I didn't get into an argument with anyone, okay? But we sat in a booth, and the booth, there was still like a part over, like it was like a sectional. So on the left of me was a sectional that takes you into another room of where the restaurant is. And you could see people in that room. But apparently, it's like the booth height, I really don't know if this is making any sense, y'all, because I have had some Stellas and it's the afternoon, so I apologize if this doesn't make sense. But so it's like open, and I was like, okay, it's still kind of open. And then they slid the things across. They slid like a glass window across to divide the music that was going on in the room I was in and the room that the other people were in. And I was like, wait, my escape plan just like...
Now I'm going through windows.
Because maybe, not normally, but I could have maybe like jumped over the sectional and I'd be close to the door. But I do always make sure I try to be, like I know where the door is. Paranoid.
Yeah.
Have you ever used your escape?
Thank goodness, no, but you better bet your bottom dollar you'll be following my ass because you know I've already scanned the whole place out. Like, okay, there's an emergency exit here, here, and there, and on the south wing they've got one, but it's a tight space and it only takes a few. But I also used to work in the news, so I think maybe that's also where a little bit...
In the news?
In the news, yeah. I used to work in a newsroom for NBC. So I would see a lot of the crazy shit that went down. So yeah, that's where probably a little paranoia and anxiety comes from.
Yeah.
You just gotta have your bases covered,
You got them all covered.
Hey, but if an emergency goes down, y'all gonna be like, yo, Jameela, where are we going?
Right.
So y'all clown now.
Yes, we will. And we will be here with you too.
Exactly. Talk about thank you, Jameela, for saving my life.
Yep. Yes, we will.
Oh, shit.
My fun fact is I am somebody who will park as far away from the front of wherever we're going just because I don't want to fight for parking.
Really?
Yes. I'm like, forget it. I'll park at the end. By the time you get the spot, I'll already be inside. I'm not here to... I'm like, no, we're just going to do it. And even myself, why are you parking so far? I'm like, well... I am able-bodied, so I should use my legs. And I'm like,
That's a good mindset.
I am not going to sit here and wait, because sometimes you see the person get in the car, but then it's not as fast as you might like it to be. So I'm like, I could have just parked down there and just saved this whole Why?
So what inspired you to create Vida es oro? I said it right this time, huh?
That was great. I like that.
Yes.
I like that.
Yes.
Well, what I was learning about myself is how important self-love and self-worth is. And so I was noticing, just around me in my environment, just not even just looking at me, looking at people around me, wow, self-love and self-worth is so important because that's how we make our decisions. And I'm like, that should be a focus. And I'm like, that's what I want my business to be about, is self-love and self-worth. So that's where the whole concept was formed, with self-love and self-worth. And then just kind of moving it from there. So the whole sports component wasn't even in there in the beginning. It was self-love, self-worth. And then I came up with a mission of what that means. And then I created the equation, the self-worth equation.
Yes, the gold.
Yeah.
So, can you share with the people what that equation is, if you can?
Yes.
I don't know if you can. I was so nervous just now. I was so nervous.
The self-worth equation is an equation I created for the world to use to see how much you're worth in the weight of gold, because everything's gold. And basically, say for me, I'm 130. I weigh a little over $2 million in gold. And so I say...
Yes.
If this ping pong ball was worth $2 million, would you take care of it? Yes. Would you give it to people that you don't trust? No, that's my $2 million ping pong ball. I'm not doing that. So it's well, why don't you treat yourself like this? And so it's knowing that that you are worth so much, and we value material or celebrities, people like that, before we even take a look and value ourselves. And we always say oh, if I only had X amount of money, then I could do X, Y, and Z. And it's well, you already have that. Everybody was born with a gift inside of them that can create. You already have that value within you to do that. To see that if I only had $1 million or 2 or 5 or 10 or whatever it is. And it's sharing that. And then knowing that how we feel about ourselves are a reflection of like how I act and make decisions. That's really a reflection of how I see myself on the inside.
Yeah.
And it's just understanding and knowing that and just bringing the reflection piece back. So it's not like, what is self-worth? What does it really mean? But it's like, for me, it's like my actions and my decisions are a reflection of my self-worth.
Yeah.
You know? And so that's where that whole concept was built in the equation, because everybody can relate to money.
Yeah.
You know, so it's understanding like, well, you would let the ping pong take care of this ping pong ball, but you wouldn't even do it for yourself, and you're already worth it. And just like anything, the where it has value, you continue to nurture it with that self-love and self-worth, it goes up. You know, you're not going to stay at 2 million. You're going to even increase that value. So that's where the concept came from.
That's awesome.
Like I had to actually put my self-worth, like in all that I was saying. Like I was in a relationship and I was like, I understand how people can almost lose their minds.
Yeah. Yeah, how in a relationship you just lose your mind.
I just think certain things can take, like, you have to be like strong mentally to be like, you know what, this is, I can't do this anymore because I'm losing it. Yeah. And it's not worth it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, like, there are situations in relationships that, like, will just be like, yo, I'm going crazy in this situation right now. And I don't know if your crazy is making me go crazy or if I'm just fucking crazy. Like, what would you tell people that are in that relationship? I'm not talking about me, but I'm not in a relationship, y'all. I'm single, holla. But like, what would you tell people that are going through something like that right now?
Well, I'll use my own experience because I was in a situation just like that. So basically, I was in a relationship and I was being cheated on. And so it was kind of like that, well, I hope it gets better. You know, I see the potential and all that other bunch of stuff. And, you know, you break it off, but then there's still like that text message that comes in. And it's like that heartstring text message, like, you get sucked back in. And so for me, I had to like really say like self-worth and self-love. And it's really understanding for me was, what do I really want and deserve? Like, you know, I'm sure all of us have had a vision of like what I want my dream relationship to be or look like or whatever it is. And so I had to say, like, if I really want that, I have to remove myself from this. Because I'm not going to get it in here. And so I had to do something that I never done before. And basically that's what you have to do. You have to do something you never done before to get something that you want.
That's so true.
And for me, it was like, I was always a person who I would stick with you until you like totally cut it off with me.
I'm the same fucking person.
I'm going to give it all I have, all I have. And you're going to be like on the fence, but I'm going to be like, I'm still here. I'm still here. And you're like, can't you see what you got right here? And you know, so like, I was like, no. I have to be the one who steps forth for myself. You know, and so I had to do that. So for me, it was like blocking, deleting, everything, because I feel like if I'm going to delete them, but then they can still text me. I'm going to know
who the fuck that is.
What the text message comes in, I'm going to know who it is. And even if I like block, but I still have your number saved in my phone, then it's still like that access. So I always use this. I say like, if you leave the wound open, it'll get infected.
Ooh,
you know,
that's a good fucking one.
So I was like, if I leave those accesses open, it's gonna come in and infect me back again. So it's like having that strength just to cut it all off. And just saying like, no. You know, and allowing that to come in, and it did. You know, now I'm in a healthy, happy, and loving relationship. It's the first time that I can say it's actually like you get all those three at one time. You know, where
don't be sliding in her DMs, y'all. Okay, she take it. She happily take it. Unless y'all want a lioness to come eat you and your cubs. But no, that's but that's so true, and I feel like, but it's like, where do you find the strength to be like, I'm gonna be the person that cuts this off and like ends this?
I have to find the strength in myself. That's I can't find it from you, like going to my friends and like encouraging me. It's like, because I've had these conversations. We've had conversations with our friends and my friends, and it's like, I can like not tell you, it's suggestions. Everything is suggestions. We all make our choices. And it's, you know, it's like, eventually you're going to be half the one who has to do it. Like, you know, how we've been in that situation where I go tell my friends the same story, you know, and it's like, okay. And they say the same thing back. And then you have to be the one who's just like, this is not what I want. But it's also letting go of the insecurities of digging deeper as to why are you saying you want to be with this person? Like, what's your definition of love? Is love like feeling like you want to cry and you feel like sad and you feel like you don't get the attention or the appreciation that you deserve? And if that's not your definition, then you have to do something different. It's just like anything you do, like relationships, friendships, family, work, job, career, you know, dream job, whatever it is. It's like, if you don't feel that, then you have to know it's okay and knowing that you're going to create what you really want. And so that's what I learned is, as hard as it is, you're going to feel like, I can't do it. No, I want to go back. I just, maybe one more chance. I know they're like, you know, this time they're seeing it, you know? And it's like, oh, now that I've cut them off, I know they want me now, you know? And it's like, but no, like you know, and it was, I was learning is that I was waiting for being that person who was like, I'm going to let you be the decider. Is because that's the hard part. It's hard for us as people to step up for ourselves.
To make that kind of decision.
I'd rather you make it for me.
That's always been the thing.
I want you to do it for me.
I'm going to annoy the fuck out of you until you block me.
Right.
Perfect.
And then I'll be like, you know what? I did everything, guys, and I gave all I had. And she blocked me.
I don't know why she blocked me, but she blocked me. But then that's another thing too. Like is blocking really a healthy way of dealing with it?
To each their own. For me, it was because I know that was that's another form of communication. And like I knew that was like an opening, and I'm trying to heal my wound. I'm trying to heal, like not needing to feel like, oh, I've been wanting a relationship and I thought I had it and I thought this was the one, and we have like these fantasies come into our play, and it's like, no, if this was the one, I wouldn't be feeling like this.
Exactly.
You know, so for me, that was helpful. And a lot of times is because we don't do the block is because a part of us still has that insecurity alive. The self-love is like, there's doubt in myself. Like, am I going to find it? Is it going to be better than that person? Oh, they had they had X, Y, and Z going for them. You know, like.
Damn. Yeah, that's so true. But it's like, and you, I think, you know, and what I've realized and had to accept is that not everyone understands the true concept of love in the respects of you have to love yourself first before you can love somebody else. And that was like a very deep dish for me to like try to accept. And I was like, yo, like, what's the problem, girl? Like, why can't we? But it's because you don't love yourself. You don't know how to love yourself. And some people are still seeking that and trying to find how to love themselves first. And then they're just like, I love so-and-so. But it's like, but you still don't love yourself first.
Right.
So it's like, how do you,
Well, there's this book that I'm reading. It's called Codependent No More.
Oh, shit.
And it basically, it talks about codependency, and I feel like there's a piece of codependence in probably us all, where it's like, I'm a person who, I like to save people. You know, like I've been a saver. Like, oh, no.
Me too. Oh my God. Why is Michelle speaking to my soul right now?
Like, oh, no. I see how we can fix this. Come with me. Stay with me, you know? And so you know, and then I'm getting the headache because they don't want to be saved.
They don't want to be saved.
But we want to save
They don't want to be saved. Don't save them.
But we think like, oh, no. They're going to see the light if they're with me. And it's like, I'm getting lost in that. And in turn of not loving myself. Because I'm seeking love from this person. And so they can be like, oh, thank you for saving me. Where it's like, oh, there's piece of me that needs to be saved. You know, because I'm seeking this person just to feel recognition, basically. And gain something from that. You know,
and I think that's the tricky part of, you're so used to being the saver and wanting to save, and you're like, no, come here, girl, let me help you out, let me like fix what your problem is, girl. I got you. I got you, girl. Let me be the fixer. I want to be there. You know, I want to be, you know, that person. But it's like, at the end of the day, it's really refreshing when you don't have to save.
Yeah.
And you really actually, in a sense, complement one another.
Yeah, you get to grow with each other.
That's so true. And I'm noticing that and learning that and seeing that. And it's such a refreshing concept.
Yeah.
To not have to save someone. You know what I mean? Or to not feel like you need to save someone in that respect.
Yeah.
Like, even though they're self-sufficient, you could still see, like, girl, come here. Like, come on, let me help you. Just come here. Come here, girl. Come here, girl. Come here. I got all the answers, girl.
I know. But it's like learning.
Terrible shot.
I heard someone, I forgot the author who said it, but she's like, red flags are not decorations. You know, like, it's not like we see the red flags and we're like, oh, that's where the party's at.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, it's not a decoration. Like, come over here. You know, it's like you see it.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, that's what I want. Those red flags.
Oh, shit.
You know, and she's like, it's not a decoration.
Shell's over here just spitting knowledge, just dropping jewels. Fucking drop. Oh! That was really close, too. Oh, man. Yo, Michelle's dropping knowledge, though. Like, but that book that you said you're reading, I mean, that came from...
Not the red flags. No,
Mm-hmm.
I heard that one quite a few years ago. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the Codependency No More. I've been reading that book right now. Yeah.
Codependency.
Yeah.
And what is your take on the book so far? And like, how have you been able to apply that to?
Well,
I mean, you talked about it a little bit, but like, on your journey through also being a life coach and a sports coach, like how has that balance been for you?
It's perspective, and I feel like that's why I love having conversations. And yes,
that was a silent yes.
Okay. And like where you're coming from, because we all are seeing something that's similar, so that when I go meet, you know, whether if it's a youth or an adult, it's like, oh, I can understand where your perspective, because I've met someone who's actually said the same thing and been in your shoes or something similar. So we're all doing like the same like things. Yeah. It's just, I always say like in the names and the faces change, but the stories stay the same. Yeah. Basically. Like we can all relate on so many levels. Yeah. And that's why I do the interviews with the kids, is so that first of all, they can start speaking about who they are, because I feel like we take too long to acknowledge ourselves in life. Yeah. And it's like, you can start acknowledging yourself right now. Like, what did you do like as a 6th grader, 7th grader? Yeah. So you can start to see like self-love and self-worth right now. And then people around you can listen to your story, because we can like relate to it, or I know somebody or whatever it is. Yeah. And so it's like, you know, and then sharing your story is healing. Yeah. Yeah, it really is. You know, this fucking podcast has been therapeutic as fuck. So, I mean, I get it. Like sharing your story is that's the release. That's where the therapy is. That's where the healing is. And thank you everybody for ever continuing to listen and watch. Like, when you're speaking, when you're doing your public speaking, like, how do you get the young people and even adults to like really pay attention and to like wake up to you know, how they can also better themselves? I think it's connecting, like really sharing your story, and not just being like, okay, we're going to talk about self-love and self-worth, and you know, here we are, and it's like, yeah, if you do this, you're going to get it, and you're good, and everyone's like, okay. And instead of just doing that, is like sharing that. Like when I did a keynote a couple of weeks ago, was you know, sharing my story of, you know, how I had to learn that by being in a relationship where I was getting cheated on, because I'm sure there's someone in there who could relate. Oh yeah. So it's like it's like, okay, I can connect right there. I even go deeper, and I talk about my experience growing up as a kid. You know, like for me, it was feeling that I felt like, okay, I feel like my dad is cheating on my mom. And there's things that are going on inside the home. And in my home, it was like, not necessarily even that. It's just like, whatever happens here, you don't talk about it. Yeah. And so for me, it was like, I hold in all this stuff.
Yeah.
You know, all these thoughts that I'm having. And then I feel like, well, I can't go tell like my friends about it because when I see them with their family, everyone's like, oh, hey. And everyone's like all great as smiles. I'm like, they're not going through nothing. They're good.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's finding like, what is the, like, what's the demographic basically? Who am I speaking to? And really for me is being vulnerable with them.
Yeah.
You know, and because I'm sure something in there, or even when we're talking about something, it's like I relate my story.
Yeah.
You know, I tell them, you know, I've had half of my scholarship taken away.
Oh shit.
You know, so it's not like, oh, everything's so perfect. If you follow this guide, it's like, no, if you read
Fun fact.
Fun fact. It's like if you read the book,
Yeah.
you're gonna know this, and you're gonna know that it wasn't easy or perfect, and I had things that I had to go through. But this is why I'm sharing it, so that I feel like cut the learning curve in half.
Yeah.
Like I know we say like, oh, but you know, I'm young and I can make mistakes, and it's like, is that an excuse for us?
Do you find resistance in working with coaches, like, you know, with their ego and their pride? And, you know, that's got to be somewhat difficult, maybe trying to tell coaches what to do and how to really make their team successful.
For me, it's not telling people what to do. Like even with clients or coaches, everything is like suggestion. I can suggest to you like, hey, there's a really good movie out.
Yeah.
Whether you want to go see it is up to you. I can suggest to you like, hey, you know what? I think so-and-so's bad news. If you don't, it's everything. Life is full of suggestions.
Yeah.
You know, when the light turns yellow, it's suggesting you slow down. Maybe you should stop.
Yeah.
But you decide whether if you're going to take the yellow.
Yeah.
Or you're
Yeah.
like, I want to wait for the next round of lights to turn green.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so it's like everything is suggestions. Your focus is not to prove anything to somebody, because you can prove something to me and I could still be like, it still ain't good enough.
Yeah.
It still ain't good enough.
Yeah.
So it's like everything you do is you prove it to yourself, because you can try to prove it to me as long as you want, and I could still be like, nah, I don't see it.
Yeah.
You're still not this or that or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're going to spend all your energy trying to prove it to me?
Yeah.
Who's not even like trying to see your life?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Go find light. Go find people who want to embrace you and empower you.
You also do the focus calendar in organizing as a part of the work that you do for your clients. Can you explain to the folks like what that entails?
Yes. So the focus calendar, you can get it at vidasorder.com. You can download it for free and print as many copies as you like. But basically, it's like a planner, but at the beginning of the week or the month, you set what your goals are. The beginning of the week, you set, you know, what your tasks are for that week. And then at the end, it's not just about like, okay, I did X, Y, and Z. I cross it off my list. It's a reflection piece. So like, did I accomplish all my tasks? How can I improve? Yeah. So it's all about asking yourself how you can get better, because that's the only way we're going to grow. So we can, you know, say like, oh, I made my bed every day, but is there something that you could have done better? Like, how are you doing it? Is it sloppy because you're trying to run out of your room because you're waking up late? Or, you know, there's so many things. It's like really asking like, how do I improve? And if you can start to implement that piece of reflection and just take a step back and look like, how can I get better at this? And it's just creating little habits, because those are what we're going to use, you know, not just like when we're in sports or in, you know, school, but like when we're out there in the real world as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. How did you fuck, she finally, no. Oh, jeez. All right. Let me pull this stupid thing
It's been a while.
It has. It has.
She's like grumbling over there.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. Let me. Can you tell the people how you were inspired to do that focus calendar while I drink this and then come up with my fun fact?
How I was inspired by the focus calendar, reflection is just knowing that it's not just doing something and being done with it. It's actually asking myself, like, how do I get better? So even one of the things I do in my relationship, or that we do together, is every month we celebrate a month-aversaries. So we don't just do like the 1 year. So there's always like a celebration.
You two are that couple, like celebrating each month?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because, you know, if you wait till the year, then it's like, oh, it's been a year. And and I learn from observing, you know, so I'm like, I can see where the appreciation, like, I love you, but I can see how it can slowly stop happening. So, month-aversaries. And then on the month-aversary, we ask each other, what is something that we've appreciated about, you know, each other that month? And then what is something that that person can work on?
Ooh.
So we pick one thing because you can't like, oh, well, there's X, Y, and Z. And it's not waiting like years or months down the road to be like, okay, now you've took me to my point and I can't stand this. It's like, okay, let's every month, what I've been appreciating and then one thing that you can work on. So now I know, you know, this is something I'm aware of it. And there's there's no person. This is just an open, like honest feedback, basically. Reflection.
That's fucking awesome. Maybe I might be in a loving, lasting relationship by doing some like doing shit like that. Like, I want to replay this right now and write that down. Like, legit. That's awesome. Like, how you guys were just like, yo, we need to revisit like everything that we're doing every month. Was there something that triggered that though? Was there like an argument or a fight or discussion where it was just like, you know what, every month we should revisit?
Well, like in our first year being together, actually some of our insecurities have nothing to do with each other. We're coming up, and then of course you like take it out on each other. Yep. So we did couples therapy. And then from there we we understood that and got all that stuff out. But then we just started having month-aversaries, and I was like, babe, what have I been doing good? It just came to me, and I'm like, okay, tell me something I could work on. Yeah. You know? And I think maybe at that time there was something that maybe I wanted to share with her, and I was like, oh, this is the opportunity to I tell you, you tell me.
Shit. Wow, that's like fucking beautiful, man. Wow, like I'm really like in awe and excited, like because you don't hear about that a lot, and you don't hear couples talk about that and being so open about, you know, what's going on and revisiting it every month. Like, what is it, something I can work on? Mm-hmm. Or what is it that you like that I'm doing and that I should keep doing? Like, that's so beautiful. On your end, especially speaking as a life coach, certified life coach at that, because that shit is not easy. At one point in my life, I wanted to be a life coach. Hey, fun fact, because I owe you a fun fact. Fun fact, there you go. But I feel like this is going to be very helpful to a lot of people, like from your point of view and from what you've been through and from your opinion, your experience. Like, what would you tell us single folk on how to try to maintain
For me, it was healing myself and the baggage I had and come with and insecurities. And then for me also knowing that the person that I'm with was on the same page of wanting that healing. Yeah. So I actually had a life coach for 3 years. Oh, shit. And nice. and then I've, done different like programs and things like that. Yeah. And, she's been in therapy. And so for me, I felt that it was beneficial that we both have had that experience. Yeah. Because there can be taboo attached to these things. There's stuff in us that we've experienced that has nothing to do with what's going on now, but we've carried it, you know? Yeah. And so I feel like that helps. And then I found it beneficial to do couples therapy. Yeah. And not wait till like stuff got really crazy or whatever. Did
you find her resistant to wanting to go to therapy?
No.
Really?
No.
That's good.
So I have a friend and she does this. And so I was like, hey, at first I was calling her because I know her. Yeah. And then she was like, well, you should ask to see if, you guys should do it together. I'm like, okay, I will. And so she was like, yeah. So we did the therapy together. Yeah. Yeah. So it was like, it was good because they gave us homework assignments separately. Nice. And it's like, we don't know what she's giving, to me or to her. Yeah. So it was cool. Yeah. It was cool. And it's that part where it's like, do I really want to know about myself? Yeah. I think that's the scary part.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Do I really want to have to like reflect and like look at myself in the mirror, like, and have some, I don't know, I think that's the uneasy part.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, do I really want to go there?
Yeah.
But I do. I like it.
Yeah.
You know?
Just really just digging deep.
For me, I'm like, I just want to scrape away so I can like see clear.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though it's like something like maybe I don't want to hear this or like, oh no.
Yeah.
But it's like, and then forgiveness, you know, like forgiving things that have happened to me.
Yeah.
You know, letting like things go, which is.
In your life, has there ever been something that you just thought you could, like, you're just like, how do I get through this?
Well, I actually played softball, but I kind of like was brought into it because I was like, I played basketball and after my freshman season in high school, I was, you know, walking around after school and my basketball coach was actually the softball coach and he's like, can you catch a ball? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, okay, come down here and practice.
That's how we recruit.
And I'm like, he's like, okay, you're going to play softball. And I'm like, I don't know about this. But that was hard, especially because he put me on varsity. And
damn, they just immediately put you on varsity.
And there was some not happy people about that on the team.
Oh, see? Mm-hmm.
You know, like, how is she never going to never play softball?
Fuck.
And she's on varsity. You know, but he taught me my job was to slap and bunt and lead off, get on first base. And so I understood like, okay, this is my purpose on the team.
Yeah, he just wanted someone fast. Yeah.
And, you know, go play right field, you know? So,
yeah. Oh, shit. Yeah. He just wanted someone fast.
Yeah. But I worked hard.
Yeah. No, of course.
You know, and so it was having to, and I knew these girls because of basketball. So it was like, well, and I get it. They're great softball players. And here I am like learning how to throw and like throwing to me was hard. Like you think it's just a throw, but you got to like nail it in someone's glove and all. And I'm like, this is hard. And I would say forgiveness too, forgiving certain.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who'd you have to forgive? Oh shit.
I had to forgive my dad.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And that is not easy.
Yeah.
But it's definitely worth it. And just for me, it was all about communicating, like having a conversation. It wasn't about like, I want to tell you how I feel and I need you to say sorry or you need to say I'm right. It was just, I just want to express how I feel.
Yeah.
You don't have to respond because forgiveness is not expecting anything in return. Yeah. Because the healing is for me.
Yeah. How were you able to forgive? I feel like forgiveness in general is very fucking difficult. How were you able to forgive your dad, especially? But forgiveness in general is a very difficult concept.
Oh yeah, especially when you're like your strong stance on whatever reason why like I'm upset and I have hurt and pain because of X, Y, and Z.
Yeah,
you know, like it's like no, I'm standing tall in this.
No fucking way. Oh.
Okay,
lights out for me. This is okay. Wow. All right. What are some other tips and advice you can give to a single folk while I drink my drink? We need fucking advice out here. And it's summertime. I mean, low key, it is kind of clipping season though, isn't it?
Clipping, like
people clip. They stop being in a relationship because it's summertime. Oh, okay. I'm just the petty one in the room. I'm just the only petty motherfucker in the room. Okay, so let's pretend clipping season. There's cuffing and then clipping. You get cuffed and then you clip them.
And then you get clipped. Okay, then you get clipped.
You clip them like a bad haircut. You clip that shit. So what would you tell people that are looking for love?
Summertime.
Not exclusively in the summertime, but what are your words of advice?
I would say know what you want. Not necessarily like, oh, they gotta be this tall and have this hair and have these eyes and, you know, body built and all that stuff. Because for me, what I learned is that it's really the inside is what everybody say the inside matter, but it does. And
I guess so. No, I'm just kidding. 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 It does matter.
But I was actually I did this talk, and it was about who I am versus what I do. And so I feel like, you know, if Jameela, if you're like, hey, I met somebody, I'm like, oh, fuck, what does she do? Like, I want to know, like, oh, how old is she? What does she do is usually a question. Oh, she's whatever. She films.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh, okay. But it's like the question we should be asking is, who are they? Are they loving? Are they goal-oriented? Are they loyal? Do they communicate? Because that's really who we're dating. I'm not dating a person in film. I'm not just dating a 34-year-old or whatever. Yeah. I'm dating who they are. And that's really what it comes down to is who are you dating? Yeah. Not what they do and like all the outside, but it's like, who are they? And it's like sometimes we can get like, oh, they're fine. They do this, they do X, Y, and Z. And it's like, but then we neglect to, we know what's on the inside, but we want to stay focused. Like, you know, we revert back to that outside of what we're seeing, but it's really about who are they? Yeah. So like, who are they? Who are you? And you want to like match that. Yeah. Yeah. You know, are they open and honest? Or because you are? And it's like, if you're open and honest and they're not ready for that, then there could be conflict. Yeah. Because I've been in that where it's like, they're not ready. And so then I start walking on eggshells. I
feel like I'm in church, y'all. I feel like I'm in church.
You know, I've been there where I'm like, okay, I'm not going to say it like be totally honest because I'm going to sugarcoat it. Yeah. So that it doesn't sound like the way I feel, but at least I'm kind of saying it, but then I'm not really saying it.
What inspired you to want to be a life coach and certified at that? Because technically anyone could say they're a life coach, but you have to be certified.
For me, it was wanting to give back where I saw, like where I felt my need was growing up.
What does it take to become a life coach?
Anybody can be a life coach. And then certified is there's different programs online that you can do. Yeah.
And you did yours at American University?
Yeah, but it was an online program. So I've taken like different online, I love to learn.
That's awesome.
So I love perspectives and just like, okay, just learning information, you know, so I can learn it, give it to myself, and then be able to give back to others as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I when I had thought about being a life coach, I like kind of had put some feelers out there and started like emailing like professional life coaches. But I mean, did you, you know, other than doing the work online, were you networking and having to kind of build this rapport or this networking within the life coach community?
Well, I think a lot of it, I feel like I've been a life coach. That has always been part of me in terms of like with my family or the conversations or with my friends. It's always been part of, you know, something that I do just now, like conversation wise. Yeah. And I did do a training program from someone who was a life coach. And so she kind of like went through coaching with me on how to be a life coach, like her route and exhale. You got one left. You got one left. You got one left.
Oh, shit. Oh.
So networking through that way. And I feel like it's really connecting and people feeling like they can trust you and you're not going to judge them. Yeah. Because you have to be able to speak to somebody where you can talk about things that maybe you don't talk about with anybody else, knowing that person's not going to judge me.
Oh, fuck.
And move forward because that's really is like letting that stuff out. Like
biggest misconceptions of you as well as Vida es oro.
Misconceptions. Maybe that it's like, oh, you work with kids, but I focus on kids because I feel that we do a lot of, well, that's one of the reasons I wrote the book was because I feel like a lot of personal development, self-help is written for adults. Mm-hmm. And so when I read those books, and goes back to like why I started the business, and I was like, why aren't we we say the kids are our future. So why aren't we teaching this stuff to our kids?
Yeah.
You know? Exactly. And so that's why I wrote the book using the sports niche, but it's really life skills and learning those things. So that's why I wrote the book. So it's like we have something for young people to kind of relate it to their sport, but knowing that these are actually life skills. Mm-hmm. And because I feel like everything is so centered, like, why do I got to get to that point?
Yeah.
Why can't we get them right here? Like, cut the learning curve in half. Like, interrupt the cycle, basically.
Yeah. Damn. So what are some future plans for you as well as for Vida es Oro?
Well, I have started...
Fuck. My fingers are pruning, guys.
Pruny fingers. Going back to creating the apparel that I had started creating probably like a few years ago.
And take a look. She's actually wearing her own her shirt. Yes, she's wearing her own shirt.
VidaSoda.com.
Yes. Take a look at that. Fun fact, I don't like alcohol anymore. No, fun fact. Okay, so I have an issue with heights. However, there's exceptions. So I'll go skydiving, but I've been skydiving, but I did this thing called acrobranche, and it's like aerobics in the trees. It's like when you go, what is that?
Zip lining?
Almost like zip lining, but you're doing obstacle courses in the trees when you zip line. So you're like doing the rope, like the tight rope across.
Where are you doing this at?
Apparently they're all over the country, but I did it specifically like when I went to go visit my family in France. But and it's called acrobranche in acrobranche. A little slurry due to the beer that I've had to drink, but it is like aerobics in the trees. So you might have to like climb ropes, like the square, fucking ropes or whatever.
Ladder
like
rope position.
Ladder ropes. There you go. You know what? Fuck alcohol. Like there were a few times where I was like, nope, over this shit. Didn't want to die. I'm not gonna die. I have a thing. I could just fall and I'm good. But it's that whole idea of falling that had me fucked up. So yeah.
Yeah, because you got one left.
I am a ping pong athlete.
Pong athlete.
I am a pong athlete. Oh, fuck. Yeah, this is overtime right now.
Right?
This is
overtime.
This is extreme overtime.
Oh! Do you need to see that?
I feel like Brandy Chastain, and I just want to like rip my shirt off and just slide through the fucking grass right now. Let's go jump in the pool, y'all!
I'm waiting. Where are you gonna go do it?
I'll go do it.
Wow.
Oh goodness, damn! Well, I finished drinking this beer. Oh, fucking good
job.
Game. Good game.
That was fun.
Good game. That was like trying. That was very trying. Sorry, my hands were very wet.
I know. It's like you were dipping your whole hand in the water.
They're very pruny and they're very wet.
You're like,
yeah. It's yeah. Let me not go down the pause. Okay. Yes, that was quite a game.
yes, it was.
Before we get out of here. Yeah, come over here. Come over here.
Hi.
While I finish my drink from a few rounds ago. Oh, wait, you didn't give us a fun fact.
Fun fact.
Give us a fun fact before we get out of here.
Fun fact is I had fun.
That is an acceptable fun fact. I dig that. Okay. Yes, okay. I was so thrown off by that fun fact. So before we get out of here, we do usually do words of wisdom. Mm-hmm. What are your words of wisdom for us?
Words of wisdom are treasure yourself and shine.
Ooh, shit. Okay. Brooke, what are your words of wisdom?
Words of wisdom. Never give up on yourself.
Shit, that was very. Let's see, my words of wisdom. Oh, shit. My words of wisdom. Wow, you dropped a lot of gems on us today. You really, really did,
Thank
and I
you.
appreciate that. And this has been a lot of fun. I appreciate you coming out here and like making the trek. This is not the beer talking. This is like me. This is me genuinely, sincerely talking. But wow, I'm trying to think of like there's nothing I could say that will like even come close to what you've dropped on us today. Let's see. Yeah. It's you're like it's right there. That's the promo right there. That's the promo
right there.
Oh shit. Right. I'm like I'm so bashful. I'm like around a life coach right now. She's certified.
Stop it.
She's certified, y'all. Yes, live, laugh, love is a good way. Okay. That inspires me. Laugh through it. Laugh through it and have a good time in it. And even if it seems crazy, bogus, stressful, and dramatic, trust me, y'all. Just laugh through it. It's just laugh and smile and enjoy it for what it is, but understand that there's so much more beauty to be held after that and during that. And I've learned to embrace the unexpected. That's kind of been my theme this week and the last couple weeks, is to just embrace the unexpected. You never know what's going to happen, whether it's good or bad, but embrace it and don't be so closed off, even though my body language right now is showing that I'm closed off right now, that I'm protecting my pruned hands. But yeah, embrace the unexpected and enjoy it and love it and enjoy it for as long as it is. Yeah. So I guess that's mine.
Yes.
Yes, and that all stemmed from Live, Laugh, Love. Boom. You better cop that on the website.
Vidasauto.com.
Yes. And how can people check you out and reach out to you? And if they're also looking for life coaching or sports coaching, how can they reach out to you?
Vidasauto.com, V as in victory, IDAESORO.com. That's how you can learn more about me as a life coach. You can also see, I have my book there as well. It'll take you to Amazon. You can purchase the book, How You Use Triumph on Sports, Tools That Create a Triumphant Life. And it's a book written for student athletes, all about, my story of my ups and downs, being an athlete and learning what skills make athletes great, but most importantly is taking and transferring those tools to make us triumphant in life. And even though I talk about basketball, because that's the main sport I play, that doesn't mean like, only basketball players can read it. The sport is for all sports because, like I say, the ball changes, but the game remains. You still have practice, coaches, teammates, school. You have all these things. So the ball changes. Just insert whatever sport you do, and you're going to still relate to it because we're all, like we say, the names and faces change, but the stories stay the same. So you can use that. You can get the Vida Soto shirt. There's tank tops also. Vidasauto.com, and then it'll take you to the website where you can get that as well. You can also see the interviews I do with student athletes, current and former, at mindrightgametight.com, because if your mind right, your game's tight.
Hey. So. Yes. And make sure you check out those interviews. Those are really good interviews, and she does a really incredible job of not only speaking to present student athletes, but also past student athletes, and really just kind of jumping in their brain and like really talking to them.
Yeah, it's like, let me learn from you.
Yeah.
And so if you are a student athlete and you'd like to share your story, you can also reach out to me on, the website, also social media. My handles on all of them are Vida Soto as well. So contact me, reach out to me if you're interested in coaching. You can also, contact me and we'll talk.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It's so dope to have you here. I appreciate you coming here.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. And before we get out of here, Brooke, how can the people reach you, Brooke?
At Way Up Brooke on Instagram. Check me out.
That's how it is normally. Make sure you check us out on Jampacked every Wednesday. Now we're on Spotify, y'all.
Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop. We're on Spotify.
We're on Spotify. We're on Spotify.
We on Spotify. We on Spotify. Hey. Make sure you check us out on Spotify, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Play, and of course, Apple Podcasts, iTunes Podcasts. And check us out every Wednesday, jampackedshow.com, as well as on social media handles, as you pointed out, what it's called. We are on Twitter, Instagram, at Jampacked Show. And then when you're on YouTube, just go ahead and put in Jampacked Show Podcast or Jampacked Podcast. Jampacked Podcast, because you might get a lot of Jampacked that you're not ready for if you put in Jampacked. So just put in Jampacked Podcast, and you'll get us on YouTube, as well as Facebook /Jampacked Show. So that's everything. I think, did I get everything? Oh shit, I got everything. All right, and we will see you on the next Jampacked.
For that down slow, we got many with plenty that say no. We got refugees on road boats. I'm like, real life and no TV. Millionaires stay greedy. No love and there's no grub. We got the homeless saying, y'all better come my way. Y'all better come my way. Okay, and say, y'all better come my way. I'ma make a statement day by day. Y'all better come my way. Y'all better come my way. Okay, and say, y'all better come my way. I'ma make a statement day by day. Peace out, up. Put them in the air and go rise up. Peace out, up. Put them in the air and go rise up.